Welcome back to Shree Learning Academy. Today we are diving into cloud-specific vulnerabilities. If you want extra help, check out our private training options. Just reach out on WhatsApp. Alright, let's get started. When we talk about cloud computing, we are talking about services like storage, servers, databases, or software all delivered over the internet. It's super convenient. You don't need to manage physical servers and you can access your stuff from anywhere. But here's the thing. With all that flexibility comes a new set of problems, especially vulnerabilities that are specific to cloud environments. Now, a vulnerability is not just any security problem. It's a weakness in the system that can actually be exploited by an attacker. In cloud computing, there are certain vulnerabilities that show up more often or are more unique because of the way cloud systems are built and used. One of the most common cloud-specific vulnerabilities is insecure cloud storage interfaces. This is when the way you access or manage cloud storage like files or databases is poorly secured. For example, if a cloud storage bucket is accidentally set to public instead of private, then anyone with the link can access the data. Attackers don't even need to hack anything. They just scan the internet for misconfigured storage and they are in. That's a true vulnerability, a mistake in configuration that creates an opening. Another real vulnerability in the cloud world is insecure or exposed APIs. APIs are like bridges that let different apps talk to each other or let users control their cloud resources. If these APIs are not properly protected, maybe there's no authentication or input validation is missing, an attacker can exploit them. They might be able to run unauthorized commands or extract data. For example, if an API lets someone list or delete files without checking who's making the request, that's a serious vulnerability. Let's talk about virtualization vulnerabilities. Most cloud providers use virtualization to divide a physical server into multiple virtual machines. But if the hypervisor, the software that controls those virtual machines, has a flaw, an attacker might break out of their own virtual machine and access others on the same host. This is known as VM escape. It's a rare, but when it happens, it's major cloud-specific vulnerability because of how heavily cloud systems depend on virtualization. Then we have metadata service vulnerabilities. In some cloud platforms like AWS, each virtual machine has access to metadata service. Basically, a small server that provides important information like instance details or temporary credentials. If an attacker gets control of a machine or can trick an app into querying that metadata service on their behalf, they could steal those credentials. This is known as server-side request forgery or SSRF attack. The vulnerability here is that the metadata service is too easily accessible from within the machine and not always well protected. Here's another one. Insufficient isolation between tenants. In a shared cloud environment, many customers or tenants might be using the same physical infrastructure. Normally, they are separated by software-based controls, but if there is vulnerability in the system, say a bug in the hypervisor or a weakness in how data is stored in memory, one tenant might access another tenant's data. That breaks confidentiality and is a huge issue in the cloud security. We also need to mention overly permissive identity and access management configuration. Now this one's a little tricky. It's not just about user error. It can also be a vulnerability in how cloud IAM systems are designed. Some platforms don't warn users when they assign excessive permissions, or they might use complicated policies that are hard to audit. This can lead to privilege escalation, where a user or attacker gets more access than they should simply because the system didn't enforce limits properly. A related issue is token reissue vulnerabilities. In cloud, authentication tokens are often used to give users or systems temporary access. But if these tokens aren't managed correctly, for example, if they are not tied to a specific session or they don't expire properly, attackers could reuse them to gain unauthorized access, and this is a vulnerability in how session and token management is implemented. Next, there are container vulnerabilities. A lot of cloud services now run in containers, kind of like lightweight virtual machines. But containers share the same operating system kernel, and if there's a flaw in that kernel or in the container runtime, an attacker might break out one of the container and mess with the others. Again, this is specific to cloud setups that could use containers at scale. Let's not forget insecure deployment tools. Many organizations use tools like infrastructure as code, which automatically sets up and configures cloud resources. But if these tools have bugs, use outdated templates, or store secrets like passwords in plain text, they introduce vulnerabilities directly into the environment. And because these deployments are automated, the vulnerabilities can spread quickly. So, to wrap it all up, cloud specific vulnerabilities aren't just general threats like phishing or weak passwords. They are actual weaknesses in the design, configuration, or technology of cloud systems. Things like exposed APIs, insecure storage setups, flaws in virtualization, or poor isolation between users. These are the weak spots attackers look for. The good news is, most of these can be avoided or fixed with the right controls, strict access policies, regular audits, encryption, input validation, and strong monitoring. But the first step is knowing where the vulnerabilities are, and now you do. Thank you so much for watching this video, and if you are looking for more personalized training, contact us on WhatsApp. We offer a range of theoretical and practical courses starting at just $99. You can also find a written explanation and a quiz on our website, link in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe for more useful videos and feel free to ask any questions in the comments. We are here to help. See you in the next one.